Oh,
since they
okay.
didn't have one for social media.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Once again, the only person that's not here is representing Harford County, and maybe she'll join, but I've been in touch with her network president to ask her to get on if at all possible. Now, just so you know, I'm going to introduce myself in a minute, but I'm not the savviest Zoom person in the whole wide world. So I am on here. I have sent you guys handouts so that you can look at them on your computer screens. And I am not going to be switching back and forth sharing documents and things
Oh,
like that, which is why I
okay.
sent you, I sent all of the documents to you directly. Did everybody get that email?
Yes.
Okay, so I was just covering myself. That's my disclaimer, and I just wanted you to know. So my name is Pearl Wetzel, and I am the 2020 president-elect, 2021 president-elect for the state of Maryland. I was most recently the secretary for the state, and I have been the president, the treasurer, the secretary, the who knows what else for Prince George's County Network. And I've been a member of Women's Council for probably about, I guess, about 7 years now. And when I joined Women's Council, it was because one of our past presidents ran into me at a meeting, and she told me about the Women's Council. And the first thing she told me is, "You'll make a great president." And I'm thinking, I don't even know what the Women's Council is. So how am I going to make a great president? And lo and behold, here I am as the president-elect for the whole state. So that's just a little bit about me. Um, I did just want to give you a couple of little facts. Women's Council has been in existence for 82 years, and there are approximately 250 networks. Of course, you know that our branding is hashtag leaders are made here. So you will see that everywhere. And I was actually on the WCR website, and I was looking at um, it says about the link that says about. Then they have some facts under at a glance. And one of the things that I saw is that they do not like the acronym WCR. So they would prefer that we either refer to ourselves as Women's Council or Women's Council of Realtors. So I just thought that that was an interesting fact because, of course, I guess between ourselves, we can say WCR, but when we are in public, they would prefer that we be Women's Council of Realtors. So I just wanted to share that bit of information with you. Hold on a sec. And okay, that's a little better. Okay, so Women's Council of Realtors, and I'm sure that all of you know that Women's Council of Realtors is not just women, that we are approximately 10% men. And so therefore we are multi-purpose organization. There is also under that link, the About Us link, there is a newsletter, and it's called eConnect. And that eConnect newsletter provides a lot of information about the Women's Council and upcoming sessions and events, facts that you might not have known previously. So it's very good. It's got events, it's got news, and it's got different articles of interest to the network. And the reason that I bring it up is because even though you are the secretary, you are you are actually very important to your network, because it's you that's going to keep the network on track, but it's also a help for you with the planning of events for your network, and to help your presidents and your president-elect to have a sense of what's going on, because, you know, just because they're the president and the president-elect doesn't mean that they can't use some help from other members. So I just thought that you might like to at least explore that eConnect newsletter, and they do it on a monthly basis. So right now, if you go on, you will still see the November eConnect. And so I'm thinking that maybe by tomorrow, or I don't know what the date is that they actually publish the newsletter, but it's a good source of information. And of course, you know, I just wanted to reiterate our mission statement. We are a network of successful realtors advancing women as professionals and leaders in the business, the industry, and the communities we serve. And so that's what we, those are basically our marching orders. That's what we keep in the forefront of our minds at all times, that we are successful realtors. And if you look at some of those facts and statistics on that, at a glance, it shows you how much realtors under Women's Council make, and it gives you percentages, it gives you some dollar amounts, and so I think that it just adds more validity to who we are and what we're about. So you can actually use those as talking points. And once again, you know, you guys, even though you're secretaries now, that means that probably next year you'll be a treasurer or a president-elect. I think you moved to president-elect. So there's always good information there, because once you become the forefront of your network and you are the person who's in charge of the meetings for your network, then this is information for you to share with your network. At least it makes you look good, and it makes everybody think that you are just on top of everything that's going on, Women's Council. And they do try to make it easy for us, because they do provide us with all these tools. So moving right along, the position that we are here to discuss right now, is the secretary position. How many of you have been secretaries in your networks before? Is this your first time, or have you been it before?
First time.
First time? Tara, that's your first time? Okay. What are you doing, Tara?
Half time. I kind of bumped in last year, but yeah, I'm doing full time. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Well-
I was hanging around the position, so I think this is
Yeah,
so this is okay.
I do remember
Okay.
Pamela and I are with the same network.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I switched networks, and when I came over, it was almost like, well, we're not going to accept you if you don't do something. So I was like, okay.
You switched networks. You're at Greater Capital, right?
I am, but I switched from Northern Virginia to
Oh,
Greater
okay.
Capital.
Okay.
And Martha was like, oh no, we're putting you to work. So
Of course. That's Martha. You don't think
that's why
you just sit back and look, do you? Well, that's good. At least you guys are familiar, and it's not like you've never been in any type of a management or leadership role before.
Right.
And if you are a realtor and you're doing any type of business at all, then you know what it's all about, keeping good records. Because if you don't, you'll never get to the settlement table, and you'll never get a paycheck. So you're doing this secretarial job pretty much every day. And if you've worked for yourself ever, then you know that in a company, you have to have bylaws. And so, and those bylaws have to be updated and things like that. And so that's pretty much, what we're doing here. This says, the general oversight says to ensure proper reporting and network compliance with all state and federal laws and regulations impacting nonprofit organizations. And so the Women's Council of Realtors is a nonprofit. We are not for profit, which is why we're going through so much with the treasurer's positions right now, trying to become compliant with filing taxes and things like that. Thank goodness you guys don't have to be involved in that part of it. Your treasurer has that headache, thank goodness. Makes me real happy that I'm not the treasurer anywhere right now.
So the bylaws part, I know we're not to maybe the point of asking questions, but I think that's kind of while I was in consideration last year.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody was pitching in, doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard to tell, well, what should I be doing or what should I not be doing? Because we weren't necessarily following what I was used to.
Okay.
So as far as like bylaws and things like that, is that the treasurer also does that?
No, the treasurer.
Okay, that's, yeah.
So for the most part with the bylaws, that is a governing board position. So you all should be involved with that. But there are local bylaws that are put together from national. And so then so you're making sure that you have the bylaws for your network sort of incorporated into that. And so if there's some things that might change and they change from the national level, then you want to be able to incorporate that into your local bylaws.
Right. Okay.
So it's not just something that's on your shoulders, it's on the shoulders of your board. And so you want to make sure that that everybody knows. But I mean, I don't even know how many people. I mean, when you're in a network and you have, say, a Christina Carroll at the table, or some of the older presidents.
Do you want a one-step competitive listing opportunity in Crofton?
Sure.
All right, I will send Karina your name.
Okay. All right, bye.
So you just want to make sure that, because you do have some people who are definitely into oversight, and they will come back and ask you questions and make sure that everything has been updated. I have not ever had anyone to ask me specifically about the bylaws, but I did include a copy of the bylaws in the email that I sent you guys earlier today. Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay, so the local, and so this is a model bylaws for the Women's Council of Realtors. And somewhere in the network's files, you should have this entire packet, and you should be able to incorporate the proceedings of your network into these bylaws. So say, for instance, it talks about your dues and when they're due and how much they are. You should have something there that's already put together that has all of this information in it. And so there might be something that you changed, but the president or someone should already have this there. Have you seen this at all? In any other files?
No, I haven't even seen files. And so I think that's why it's hard to really engage and actually pinpoint what I should be doing when, because I think everybody was trying to help the president and just being reactive to certain things. So it's hard to really tell, what in fact you are supposed to be doing. So, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. I would probably start with the president and find out if the president has a copy of these bylaws. I'm not sure, because I haven't been on the local board in a while. Once upon a time, I think I did have the bylaws in my files, and I may not have deleted those files, so I could go back and look to see if I've got anything. But I think that I think Linda Simpson in Prince George's County was the person who was always working with the bylaws.
Mhm.
So you could also reach out to her and ask her if she's got a copy of bylaws,
Okay,
because she was very instrumental in seeing that they were updated.
okay,
So I think that I'll check my files, but I think that she's also a good person to start with. And Linda, of course, you know, is a past president.
right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Anybody else have a question about these bylaws? Any issues in your, that you know of in your networks? No? Okay. All right. But once again, when you look at this model, there are lots of fill in the blanks. And in order to make it pertinent to your particular network, you have to fill in the blanks. And then some things are just standard. Okay.
So I do have a question, Pearl. So the 2020 leadership team for our network, we should already have bylaws that are in place that we've been functioning from.
Right.
So we would just continue to use those same bylaws.
You can continue to use those bylaws. However, usually at the beginning of the year, the network, the governing board for each network should have like a little retreat where you make your plans for the year and talk about, you know, the direction that you want the network to go in. And so this could be one of the items on the table. And all of you can have a copy of it and go through it and see if there are any things that need to be updated according to how you want your network to operate.
Understood.
So yes, there should be one that's already in effect that you might just need to ask them if they're planning to do any updates. I mean, it's not necessary that you update every year, but you do want to make sure that that the model has not changed within, and that everybody's, you know, everybody at least on the board knows what direction you're going in. That makes sense?
I think we were actually doing the updates, and I don't know if this would apply to everybody else. We were trying to do updates to change it from, change the wording to network from, yeah. And so at that time, when I asked about it, I actually think the treasurer was doing it. And so I don't know if it was finished or anything like that. I mean, I guess I can find out, you know, but I don't know if everybody else is aware that that's what we were doing, is we had to change the name.
Yeah, that was an issue, and that's a good point. And if you look at this model that I've sent to you, this has been updated. So this now does say network. I know the ones some years back were saying, what were we?
Chapter,
Chapter, there you go.
Ah,
but we're networks.
So this particular one does say network already.
okay.
So everywhere that it said chapter before, it says network now. But yeah, that was before they at National decided to make all those changes for us and send it to us. So basically, you're just going to fill in the blanks with the information that's pertinent now, and the model already has network for you. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. So you're going to maintain network bylaws and standing rules. You're going to oversee credentials project team to ensure proper election protocols and reports results of election to National Women's Council by November 1st of each year. And so for those of you who were not in the secretarial position, say for 2020, when we had our elections a few months ago, everybody that had been put into a position, that information had to be put into a report and sent to National. And so you had to tell who was in what position, what their names were, give their contact information, and then that information had to be sent to National. So, you know, your job, basically you're records keepers. You're gonna make sure that everything that is said at that table, you know, if any of you know how to do shorthand, then do your shorthand. That's what I do, you know, shorthand. And then go back and turn it into longhand that somebody can actually understand. And as the secretary this year for state, whenever we were having meetings, I always had to make the notes. And what I would do is I would always go and start with the minutes from the meeting before.
Right.
And then I would make my changes accordingly. And some of the things I would return just to get it out the way, but then I would go back and kind of use the same format or just make some changes to whatever that particular item was. And it just reminds me, whenever I'm doing this, of the days when I used to work for the Washington Post and I used to do advertising. And we will, in the Post, in the newspaper, you will see that there are standard abbreviations for certain things. But everybody knows basically what it is. Like you'll see the word boulevard and everybody knows that's BLVD. And so we had those type of abbreviations, but for a whole lot of other stuff. And so that's what I'm always using for anything that I write. I'm using my own little shorthand, and then I'll go back and I'll translate it back into something that somebody else can understand. And then of course, you know, you have to keep a file of your notes, your minutes. Anybody that has been elected for an office, you want to make sure that you hold on to that information, because once again, you are the records keeper and you never know when it's going to come back from some higher office and you're going to have to pull those notes out. So because sometimes your president will hold on to them and sometimes they won't. So
hold on to everything.
That's right. You are the gatekeeper to the notes, okay? So without you, they wouldn't have a clue sometimes as to what they said and what direction you're going in. And so you can read it back to them and say, oh yeah. But the thing to make sure too is that you send them those notes, whatever the notes are, you make sure that you send them a copy to your president and your president-elect for sure. And then, you know, when you have your board meetings, you will print out a copy of those and distribute a copy to each person at that table. And in that way, they know that they have a copy in their files as well. And I've gotten to a point sometimes it's like I'm scared to throw anything away because I never know. I probably got notes over here from who knows how many years back. And I do need to go through here and get rid of some stuff. Just like I need to get rid of some of my client files from 20 years ago because I haven't thrown away probably a thing. But, you know, you just hold on to everything, at least for the year that you're in it. And what I do is, I mean, you can make files and you can put them in a file folder and hold on to them. And you can put that on your desktop if necessary. Everybody these days seems to be using Google Docs. And then I also have Dropbox. So I've got all my files in Dropbox, and that way I can just pull it up from wherever I am when I need them. If I need to share them, I can share them immediately. But you know, Google Docs, I'm still learning some of these things. You guys are probably a little more savvy than me in some cases, but I'm getting there slowly but surely. Any questions on that? No? Okay. All right. So just make sure that when we do these elections, I don't know how you guys did them on the local level. I guess you just went to a meeting and presented the ballot and had everybody at the meeting to check it off, or Pam, don't shake your head. Don't you? I don't even want to hear what you, I don't want to know. Okay. Don't want to know.
Okay.
At least when the authorities come and ask me, well, do I know? I can say nothing. Okay. And I can honestly say nothing.
I'm gonna mute myself. Okay.
I'm reading your face. You don't have to mute yourself. I'm reading your face. So that takes us to the next point, which is ensures accurate minutes are taken at each governing board meeting and maintains all official records of the network. And so we just discussed that. So I don't think we need to really go over that again, unless somebody has another question about what an accurate minute might be or to maintain. But that's really what we are. We're just going to hold them into a file until it's necessary to turn them over to the next person. It says ensures accurate minutes are taken at membership meetings when votes are taken for bylaws amendments and for elections. So that's what I was talking about when I was asking if your networks actually had your elections on site at a membership meeting, because that is what
Question.
that is how we used to.
What drastically changed from last year from this year?
I'm sorry,
We signed that thing again.
Gabrielle, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
What did you say? Oh, you weren't talking to me.
Yeah, I think she was just having another conversation. Yeah.
I got you. I see she muted herself now. Okay.
No.
No. Okay. So it's just all about accuracy. That's all. It's just about accuracy and accounting. Okay. And accountability. And especially when you have your membership meetings and you do have your votes. And once again, we used to have our elections at our membership meeting. And I mean, you know, I think things changed a little bit this year because we had COVID and we weren't able to get together. And so I'm not sure whether there were virtual elections going on or whether it was more, I don't want to say appointment or volunteer, you know, off to the side, because you are to start working on developing your members to take over positions, you know, because once again, we are a network of leaders. And so the whole idea is to make sure that it's an inclusive organization. You don't want to just have everything happening at the board meeting. Your members are allowed to know what's going on. And as a matter of fact, we used to open the board meeting to the membership. And if the membership wanted to attend a board meeting, then they were allowed to be there. They didn't have any voting power, but if they had, if they, you know, were interested and wanted to know what was actually going on in a board meeting, then they were certainly invited to attend. Now, do you guys do that at your board meetings? And once again,
Yeah.
it's been different because of COVID.
Yeah, there's been talks of doing that. I know Aurelius is really wanting us to do that, make sure we keep full transparency.
Right, exactly. That's the main thing, keeping that transparency so that nobody can come back and say, well, I never heard and I didn't know, and you guys are doing, because you know what you're trying to do too is you first of all, it's we would go by the hashtag leaders are made here. And so your membership needs to see leaders in action. They need to know what goes on behind the scenes. They need to know that the Women's Council is more than just what they get at a meeting, and that there are decisions that come from the top, from national, and that the folks who are on the board, you know, we might be volunteers, but we are about the business of the organization. And so, you know, they need to be able to see that as well. So invite them, you know, tell them when it is and invite them to come. If it's Zoom, tell them to contact you so that you can send them a link to get in or something like that. But the main thing too is just to make sure that all of your members are, one, informed, and two, invited so that they feel welcome. Because you don't want to act like you're a closed organization. Okay. What else? It says attends national and state women's council meetings depending on budget and personal finances. So how many of you have been to national council meetings and conferences and things like that? And me too. Pam, you haven't been to a national yet? No. Well, of course, this year, national was on Zoom. I'm so zoomed out, I don't know what to do. And as you can see, every time I say something, or at the end, I say on Zoom. But I'm so sick. You know, it's been great. And I think that this is why technology was developed for times such as these. And I can remember when the calendar year was changing to 2000 and everybody thought that the world was going to end. And, you know, here we are at 2020, 20 years later. And then there have just been so many advances to technology that that's what this is all about, you know, for such a time as this. And, you know, we have to step up to the plate. We just have to get used to it. In this instance, we don't know how long this is going to last. And then, you know, they're also talking about the fact that commercial real estate is kind of down because they think that a lot of these companies may not go back to a brick and mortar building, that they're going to allow their people to work from home. But that's what the technology was developed for, you know? And so, you know, you do want to see people and you need to make sure that your the work is being done. But, you know, if you've got employees who step up to the plate and do what they're supposed to do, then you're going to see evidence that the work is being done. So that's what technology is really all about. Now, why would you have all these computers and cell phones and this is and that, and then never use anything? So that's what Zoom has done for us. But you do want to make sure that you attend national meetings and conferences if you can. On Thursday, I'll be making announcements and I'll be announcing some different events that National has upcoming. And that's within the next few months. And then we sent out a calendar, which will tell you even more about upcoming events. And so you just want to stay on top of those things, because keep in mind that in some cases, the events are free. And then in other cases, you may have to pay something. But because you're an officer, you check with your network first to see if they have the monies in their coffers to send you. Because sometimes, you know, they will pay for these meetings and it doesn't have to necessarily come out of your pocket because, you know, we all try to be cognizant of the fact that this is volunteer, okay? And then sometimes there may not be the monies there, but you might want to go because it's for your own edification. You just might want to learn more about something. And so you don't mind because it's a business expense, hold on to your receipts and put it on your taxes. But at least you've gotten the information and you've learned some things and you've learned it through the Women's Council of Realtors. You know, the state meetings that we have, you know, whenever the state puts on a meeting or a class or anything like that, you want to make sure that you attend that so that you can, because those are considered to be value added, and you want to make sure that you're getting your value from being a member of the Women's Council. So once again, if your network does not have the money, then if it's not going to break your bank, then you might want to just look into paying for it out of your pocket if it's something that's not going to be overly expensive. Because I don't know what kind of financial position some of the networks are in after having been in COVID this year. And I know that a lot of the things that they tried to do, they did through Zoom. And of course, they didn't charge because it was through Zoom, because a lot of the folks who were putting on that for them, orchestrating that, didn't charge them. So they didn't charge you because they didn't have to travel. They didn't have to pay anything. For some of them, it was just a little time and we may have given them something for that, but it just depends on your budget for your network. Any questions on that? Any thoughts, any comments, criticisms? How you making out down there, Angie? You still in the car driving? Have you made it to the airport yet? Look at her, she's talking. You're on mute, that's okay. We don't want you to
Oh no, I said I'm doing good. I'm still listening. I'm still driving. It's not raining too bad.
Well, that's good. But just be careful out there. Because I know there are a lot of puddles when I was out there a little while ago. People were splashing all over the place. People were speeding out there like it was a sunny, dry day.
They had a tornado watch in the Bowie area, so.
Well,
And
maybe
then they-
that's what I've been getting a part of then today, because I'm wondering what in the world is going on out there.
Yeah.
There's some dark clouds out here, but there's bright sky in some spots. It's weird. Kind of ominous.
Well, I took a picture earlier today when I was out and I posted it on Facebook, but it was in the middle of that storm that we were having earlier. And then right in the middle of everything, there was blue sky.
Yeah.
So if you look in my Facebook page, you'll see all of this gray and then you see this blue right in the center of everything. And then of course it went away and then the sun came out and then the sun went away and then it was storming again. So anyway, the main thing to remember with this, and I've had to change in paradigm for me, is because I'm so used to talking state. So I'm trying to make sure that I keep this on the local level for you guys, because this is local. And I mean, you know, for the most part, there's not that much difference. You know, you're just in charge of making sure that everybody stays informed, and that's really what you're all about. You're the information leg of your network, and making sure that the information gets transferred properly. Anything else? I'm looking on this sheet, and it says important relationships internally, your governing board, making sure that you're in touch with them, state network leadership. If you have questions, you can always come to your state network. And like I said, I'm the president-elect. for 2021, and Lisa Chamberlain is the president. And then we have Vera Lawson, she's the treasurer. So if you've got some questions, there's just different things that different people might be informed on that you might need some information on. And then there's your strategic partners. You want to make sure that you at least know who they are for your network. And it's not limited to your treasurer and your president and your president-elect to be able to go out and find strategic partners and recommend them. You can do that as well. And any member in your organization can talk about Women's Council and talk about your network in particular to someone that you think might be a good strategic partner. So it's not just a limited recruitment. All of us can recruit strategic partners, because strategic partners help us to pay for things. And strategic partners help to pay for you to go to some of these national events. So, they're very important. And then you have your project leadership teams, and those are the folks within your organization that are heading up specific things and making sure that any little project you've got, or like the we were just talking about the social media, those different types of things. You want to be able to interact with more than just the president-elect, and the treasurer. You want to make sure that you have some type of communication going on with all of the groups. Who's that dog down there? She a leader too? Is that somebody's secretary? They said we had men. Is that a male dog? So anyway, and we just make sure that you stay as a member in good standing, and make sure your dues are paid. And did any of you take advantage of the discount that National was offering? Did any of you have any issues with those dues? So I've got to reach out, because when I did mine, I was only charged the national part of it, the $126. So now I've got to reach out to them and tell them that I did not pay my state and local dues. And I guess they'll fix that for me so that I can pay that. But I did get the discount on the 10% part that they were offering.
I need to go back and look at my receipt now to see what I was paying for. So I think I might have gotten a discount, but while I was paying it, I must say, I wondered what it was for, because we're in a different environment right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you normally pay your dues, about the conferences, about all that other stuff. So what would be what you would say to promote people to join and pay, given the virtual environment that we're in? So I did pay it, but I was wondering, okay, what can you say about this? So.
Well, I think that, first of all, in order to be a member, you're going to have to pay the national part of it anyway. And they're the ones who were giving the discount. And then you pay your local and your state. But the local and the state part of it goes towards the education sessions that we have, because a lot of times when you do an education session, the members don't pay. It's the people who are outside of the network that want to attend. They're the ones who are paying. So those are the kinds of things that and I think it was on, well, I know some time ago it was only maybe $10 for the local part of it, but then I know that was raised. I'm not sure what it is. National would know what each local network charges so that they can collect that, because that's when the local network gets that check from state because of people who have paid their dues. But it goes for us to be able to have these free sessions that we offer. And then that's why you have your strategic partners, because they help to defray the cost on some of the other aspects of having a event. And, you know, even with your strategic partners, they do get an opportunity to, in an environment like this, they get an opportunity to come in on Zoom and speak and make presentations and things like that. So they are still in front of quite a few people. And even, say, for instance, with Prince George's and Anne Arundel doing a lot of joint projects, that just gets them in front of more people.
Right.
So, you know, for what they would have been exposed to, now it's even more.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah. I was going to pay it anyway, of course. Okay, no matter what. But to promote it further, that was what was going through my mind. So you don't have the facility cost. This is what I was thinking. Normally there's breakfast and stuff that's provided at the meetings. You don't do that because everybody's doing it through Zoom.
Right.
And then the other side of that could be, you know, well, you got technology costs now. So maybe, you know, it was just really what was going to be that line, you know, that would promote people to continue to support the network.
Well,
So-
one thing I can say is that in talking with other networks, and I think Sandra's on here. I saw her chime in down here, but we have had new members to join during this period of COVID. So, you know, the networks are not just sitting stagnant, which means that we must be doing something right if people are on Zoom and then they decide that they want to actually join the network. So, Sandra, are you there? Can you add anything to that?
Pearl, it's actually Lisa Chamberlain. Yeah, but I'm on our Zoom account for Women's Council State, which is under Sandra's name, so that's why her name is showing. And I just wanted to make sure I was on to record the session for you, because I realized that as the host, if I'm not on, then it might not be recorded. And I wanted to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to see it after, you know, in case they missed it. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with everything you said, Pearl, in regards to the dues. We have a lot of opportunity in other organizations that we can join. I get that. But Women's Council is a national organization, and it offers so many speakers at a national level. And a lot of times those speakers, even though we're on Zoom, we're still paying for them. So, you know, we have to pay for people's time, and we have to respect people's time, as well as, you know, whether they're showing up in person or on a virtual Zoom. So I would say just point people back to the value that we're a national organization, and that everything that we do is, you know, it's at the top, it's top rate. And, you know, you can find that out just by going on to the Women's Council website. We also have a YouTube channel at Women's Council now, and I'll just mention that real quick. Women's Council National has a YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to that, you can actually go and see all the national speakers that spoke during our national conference. So that is a lot of value within itself as well. Like I said, those speakers are being paid. So there's a lot of things. We can go into it more. This Thursday and Friday, we'll be talking about that in a little more detail. But yeah, just remind them of the value. And I guess if you have to look for talking points, go to your national website. And, you know, we don't have to recreate the wheel here. We have templates for everything, basically. So you guys don't feel like you're alone in, you know, things that you're doing. Thank you, Pearl.
We talked about some of that at the very beginning, and I gave them some places that they could go on that national site to help them to enhance what they're doing in their local level.
Thanks, Pearl.
So if any of you don't have any more questions, it's about 5 of 3.
I have one.
Who's
Does
that?
Women's Council have a lobbying group, and how do you join?
Do we have a lobbying group?
I know it's part of NER. I know the real estate has one, NER has one, but does the Women's Council have a specific lobbying group to go?
No, we don't have lobbyists because we have paid people at national. They actually have a CEO. They have, even though they have officers that are elected, they actually have paid staff. So they would be in lieu of, yeah.
But I would like to say, if you want to lobby for something, you can, because I'm not sure,
Show me how.
well, okay, it's a little different now because of COVID, but once a year, we actually get together. I'm on the legislative committee, and so we actually get together with the state and go to Annapolis and lobby the legislators. And so if you really want to do that, it's
I live in
always
Edgewater. I'm like 5 miles from Annapolis.
okay. It's open to anybody that wants to come down. When we do it, it's different now because of COVID, so we could do the face-to-faces and, we go, there's a time set aside where we can actually do that. And so, yeah.
I need your number and your address. I'd love to join you.
Okay. Okay.
But
You
I'd
want me
like to do some, so I live in Edgewater and taxes are going up and up and up. Okay, different discussion, different time. This is one.
Yeah, we try to focus on things that are important to realtors, but there's a lot of things in life that realtors, as a result of providing the homes and stuff like that, a lot of other stuff gets rolled into that. So a lot, you're not really way off base on taxes and things like that. Now you can also go down there on your own. Again, we're in COVID, but you can go down there on your own if you have a particular issue about something that's impacting your community only, I guess. But yeah, we always want people to come down with us when we go.
And Gabriella, if you're asking specifically about lobbying for realtors, that would be through your local association, yes. And then that funnels up to the Maryland State Association.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that is a different leg than Women's Council, which is a nonprofit organization.
Right.
Again, I need to learn all these different avenues.
But Pamela, you're legislative for state, Maryland, for the state, or are you legislative at PG Carr?
Both. I'm
Okay.
legislative. I started legislative for PG Carr, and then to find out what happens to what we vote on at the local level, I joined the state level. So I've been on there a couple of years, and I'm also on board of directors for PG Carr. So yeah, you can always come. It's
I
just
joined
we're not
AAA search just to volunteer, just to get things fixed and join the Anne Arundel County, but it's a lot more I want to do. This was just a thing I did for survival. That's all.
Yeah.
People that need help.
Gabriella, on occasion, and not on occasion, but PG Carr does have a bus, and anybody who wants to go gets on the bus, and we go up to the Annapolis and attend the legislative meetings, and we've gone in and talked to some different folks up there, and told them our points of view and the things that are interesting us, and they'll tell us what they're thinking about. So you're sitting at one point, you're sitting in a big room, but then at another time you're actually allowed to go into offices. Like we went up to Joanne Benson's office one time,
right,
right, like that. So
yeah,
and
we see the last visit we did have the bus, and we try to make appointments to see some of the legislators. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you just catch them in the hallway, but you can actually get up there and bring your issues. Now, our GAD actually coordinates that for PG Carr. So our government affairs person coordinates that with state, but with the state level, you have all counties there. And so that was the reason I joined the legislative committee at the state level, because that you have PG Carr, but then I want to know what happens outside of that. And so to bring your issues and make sure they don't get dropped, I felt like be at the state level also, because all counties are in there. And I've seen it make a difference.
So, oh yeah, Gabriella, you're on mute. You're on mute, Gabriella. But
she's still talking.
I want to learn about the issues, and I won't take any more of your time up with this meeting, but I'd love to learn more of the issues and see what we need to do. That's all.
So I can tell you that the email that I sent out today, and anything that you received today, both of your email addresses are on there,
Mhm.
unless you put them in the chat here now.
You're on
You
there.
can email each other, and then you can exchange your phone numbers and things like that, and that way you can get your
Okay.
information. But your email addresses are there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm mute.
What is the Thursday, Friday Leadership Summit going to be about?
A lot.
I think it sounds kind of that way when I hear summit, 2 days. I was just curious. That's all.
Did you get a you didn't get a
I didn't get an itinerary, I don't think, but
That
I
was
get
the-
so many emails, I'll be honest. It may be sitting there and I get like something every day from Women's Council.
I was trying to
Pearl, if I can speak again, I'll speak for
Yes.
you.
yes, go ahead.
So on Thursday and Friday morning, you will receive an agenda for the day, Tara.
I was looking for.
And on Thursday specifically, we'll have an opening session. We have our national liaison, Eileen Oldroyd, speaking and giving us her encouragement and inspiration for the day. She's going to speak to us, and then we're going to go over our new state network model. We're going to go over how to build a budget. We're going to go over how to bring in strategic partners and fundraising in your networks. I have a speaker coming in from California for that. We also, on Friday then, we'll start with Cindy Reddy, who is a past national president for California. She is coming in to teach us how to run a governing board meeting and how to use Robert's rules. Then we'll go into standing rules and bylaws, being taught by Christina Carroll, and then how to navigate your local microsite. And that's also going to be an outside speaker, Sabrina Brown. These ladies spoke at National, and I reached out to them and asked them to come and speak to us again because I loved what they had said on their session. So, and then we're going to close out. So it's a jam-packed day, both days from 10 to 2. I will be recording everything, and you will get an agenda that morning to break down the hours, but it'll be every hour on the hour. We will change speakers from 10 to 2.
Thank you so much. And but I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. Thanks
I
for
was
the
Very
question.
leadership focused.
What'd you say?
I said it's definitely leadership focused. Kind of reminds me of the Leadership 365 stuff, in 2 days. So sounds
Right.
good.
Yeah, I mean, normally we would be down at Maryland Realtors from 9 to 5 on one day and have speakers and have lunch and be with each other, but unfortunately we can't do that. So that's why we decided this year to break it down into 2 days. So it makes it a little easier for everyone, even though it's on Zoom. I know you guys still have jobs to do. So yeah, so that's what we'll do, and we'll keep it moving. Like I said, every hour we're going to have a different speaker and a different topic, and hopefully it's going to put some meat on the bones for your networks to be able to move forward in 21.
Mhm.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm glad Lisa was here because she could put her fingers on hers faster than I could put mine on mine because I'm still looking for it.
It's okay. Thanks, Pearl.
So anything else? Anybody have any other topics of discussion or questions or comments that they'd like to make regarding, does everybody have a better feel for what's expected of a secretary besides just taking notes?
Definitely. Yeah.
Very good. Then I think that we will adjourn. We're done. We've done a little over an hour, and we're good.
Okay. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Pearl.
You
Mhm.
guys
Thank
are
you,
welcome.
Pearl. Great
welcome.
training.
I will see you
you all.
on Thursday.
Thursday.
Yes, we'll be
All
there.
right.
Okay, bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.